Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you're having a good day. Today we're going to talk about something a bit different, a bit more of a positive one this time. I know my previous videos haven't been as inspiring in that regard, but yeah, today what we're going to talk about is motivation and specifically, how people interpret it wrong and don't sort of act on motivation correctly to get what they want to achieve, right? And I think often this idea of motivation is sort of misconceived because people often think about, to go to, to do this hobby or to work on this self-improvement aspect, to start my business, whatever. I need motivation. And while I do believe that's true to a certain extent, I think that people don't often think about how with a bit of motivation, you can build this sense of compounding momentum, right? And that momentum, it's almost like once you've got that, once you're building that, soon that motivation can turn into routine, and then you won't really need the motivation anymore. It's like you've got that momentum, you keep building on something, and you don't want to stop because it's just part of your routine, and it doesn't take as much effort as it used to. So yeah, really, that's an idea of just building that momentum from a spark of motivation. I feel like, with me at least, and I think a lot of people get this, where you will get a spark of motivation. For instance, starting this channel, right? One day I had it was from watching another YouTuber who made similar content. I had motivation to begin this channel, and so I made my first video. Was quite inspired, whatever, and ended up making my second video, third. This is my fourth now, and really, after the first episode, the momentum hadn't really built yet, and I was contemplating quitting. Wasn't getting any views, whatever. But I decided to stick with it. Second video, things felt like they started to move. I felt like I could speak a bit more clearly. Maybe my editing improved slightly. And yeah, by now, the fourth video, it doesn't feel like as much of an effort anymore to even make these, because it's almost like part of my routine. It's something I want to do. It's like I'm not even considering, I'm not thinking, maybe I won't upload this week or whatever. It's just something that I naturally think of to do, and it becomes a lot less effortful. So I guess on that, what I would say is, in your daily life, whatever you're starting, if you're watching this, just really, if you can seize those moments of motivation, it's easy to brush them by, but if you can seize them and just, for a few days get that routine going, then I think you'll find it a lot easier to stick with whatever you're trying to build. And I think that's important to remember, just to think about this idea of momentum rather than motivation. Motivation's great, and everyone wishes that they could always have motivation to create or work on whatever they are, whether it's work, job, gym, relationships, but really it's about creating that into routine. And yeah, a lot of people say things like it's all built through discipline, and I think, some people can just brute force their way through these things with discipline, but I think for a lot of us, we do need a bit of motivation. And so for me, at least, it's about grabbing that motivation and turning it into, this sense of rolling momentum, building that habit, building that routine. And I feel like, moving on from that, in terms of motivation, how a lot of people get it, they feel like, they need to have this big goal to have motivation. I'll use YouTube as an example. A lot of creators think, it would be really ideal if I could have, 100,000 subscribers, get loads of viewers in each video, have advertisements, ad revenue, and live off that, not have to work, their regular day job. And yeah, all of those things would be nice, but I think what I'm trying to say is that kind of thing, it's the wrong source of motivation. Your motivation, first of all, I think it should be more in the present, more close to where you are timeline wise. Today I'm just going to make a video, right? And that's motivation. And if you just think about that for a week, each day you're going to make a video covering a topic, and this is just an example, right? It doesn't have to be each week. It could be, each month, or depending on, it depends on what you're doing really, how often you work on these things. But you just say, we'll use YouTube as an example, say each week you're going to make a video. Then after 4 weeks, if you keep at that, then you're building momentum. You can keep that momentum, and it becomes less and less difficult to maintain these positive habits. Now, I think, some people can also have motivation for weeks on end, months, whatever, but I also feel like there's an issue with motivation that people should acknowledge, and it's the fact that, motivation's it's not always going to be there. Something goes, wrong in your life, or even if nothing goes wrong, you might just have a spot where you're, losing will to continue at something. If you have that momentum, it almost acts like a buffer, because you've kept doing this, you still won't want to stop, even if some of your other maybe less strong routines are breaking down. So I think, if you just keep that idea of momentum in your head, I think that could be more useful to a lot of us in general than motivation. And I guess, that's what I'm really trying to say in this video, that motivation shouldn't really be a main driver of your purpose for doing things. I mean, it can to an extent be a main purpose, but the driving force that keeps you, working on your inspiration, your work, or whatever, should be momentum that you can get from motivation. And it's great if you have things like passion, but things like passion and motivation, they tend to be fleeting. Whereas, momentum, I find that's easier to maintain. Momentum helps to compound motivation. It goes together like bread and butter. And, you wouldn't really want to make a sandwich without butter. It's not going to taste as good, right? So that's sort of my viewpoint on motivation and momentum. They can work well together. I feel like momentum is better, and I guess that leads on to why I'm making this video. I was thinking about the reason, and wanted to make more of an uplifting video, because my previous videos feel like they've been more on the I wouldn't say pessimistic, but slightly more on a negative outlook side. And I'd say, specifically with this video, I was browsing YouTube, and I'm not sure if it's because I have a new channel or what, but I've been recommended a lot of content creators sort of, making the same content as this, discussing life topics and experiences. And a lot of the ones that I was being recommended were ones that had, a small amount of subscribers, a low amount of viewership. And a lot of them, the content creators, they would make a few videos. And their videos, they would not get a lot of views. And the people might be struggling with subscribers, but something I noticed about a lot of them is they had this tendency to quit early after not seeing results. And even with some of them, they would get decent results, but they would quit early, maybe because it's not enough, or maybe because they've lost that motivation. And I would say for this kind of thing, it's good to at least try to keep publishing videos, or keep going to the gym, or keep working at your hobbies, and just, I guess, giving it a sense of time, whether it's 10 videos, 20 videos, 50 videos. It depends on your patience levels, but just to see, I guess, the fruition of your work and what you can create. Because if you stop after one video, you won't really be able to see your potential. But not only that, is you won't be able to build the momentum. And the momentum, it's nice for things like growing, but this momentum's also good just in instilling a daily habit within yourself. It helps to build this mindset of consistency. And I think that's something that people should keep in mind before they, and I know it's hard, and I know people have a lot of responsibilities in their daily life, but if you can, I would say, you should try to stick to these things for a decent amount of time and not worry too much about the results. And, maybe quit at some point if, for example, on YouTube, you make 50 videos, or, you're a chef and you bake 50 cakes and none of them turn out decent, then, maybe then you can think about throwing in the towel. But I would say to just give it a fair shot. If you don't do that, it almost feels unfair to yourself, like a disservice. So for yourself, I would say, just to keep at it. And I would say this whole topic in this video of not necessarily needing motivation, being able to play more momentum. I think the reason I wanted to talk about it as well is because it's something specifically with me that I'm aiming to do with this channel. I don't necessarily have a set routine of how often I'm uploading, which maybe I should install, but I do have this desire to create this momentum, and this is this will be my 4th video. Posted a short today as well, so my 5th upload, and I do feel this sense of building momentum, but I'm also curious to see how far I can take it. I mean, I've never had a YouTube channel even break 5 videos before, so this is a first to me. But yeah, I think, look, taking out YouTube and everything out of the equation, just understanding this mindset of being able to play on these small sparks of motivation to keep doing something and to build momentum until it almost feels effortless. You can apply this in work, you can apply this in relationships, you can apply this in self-discipline, whatever, reading, school, anything like that. You can apply this kind of mindset. So I think that's a large reason why I wanted to make this video specifically and just get my words out on that. So if any of what I've said has resonated with any of you, please leave a comment. It would be interesting to interact about how you view these topics of motivation and momentum. If you maybe disagree with anything what I've said or you agree. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys.